Xander. How could the worst day of my life also be so closely tied into the best day of my life? Sounds crazy, but it's true. A little backstory. My brother, Max, and his wife, Jenna, were the happiest couple I've ever met. They were high school sweethearts, went to the same college and got married a year later. They were married for 3 years when Max was injured while skiing, and a few days later, he died as a result of a pulmonary embolism. That was 8 months ago. A month after his death, Jenna found out she was pregnant. Everything with her pregnancy went smoothly, everything but her crippling depression, but that baby gave her the strength to push on. I had Jenna move in with me so that I could help her and make sure she was taking care of herself, but no care and protection could have prevented the hand of fate from crushing my world once again. Jenna passed away during childbirth, and due to the instruction in her will, a will I didn't even know existed, I was appointed the legal guardian of her daughter, MIA Louisa. To make matters worse, my girlfriend of 3 years left because she couldn't handle the responsibility and stress of helping raise someone else's child. That was less than 6 weeks ago. I own a billion-dollar tech company, and yet all of the tragedies in my life are things that technology couldn't prevent. It's not a perfect situation, but we've been making it work. MIA goes with me to the office, and I have an entire area set up for her there with a crib, a changing table, and even a glide rocker. As I prepare for yet another meeting with yet another company that I know we need to secure a contract with, I find myself struggling to stay awake, let alone focus on the task at hand. I hear the sound of the intercom kick on just before my secretary, Olivia's voice comes through. "Mr. Dixon, your 2:30 is here. Should I send them in?" I run my hand down my face and slap my cheek to help force my eyes to stay open before pushing the button on my desk. "Yes, Olivia. Thank you." I look over at the crib and am thankful to see MIA is still sound asleep. I hear a soft knock on my door, knowing it's Olivia since she's the only one who seems to understand the fact that there's a damn baby in the office. She pushes the door open a moment later and escorts in a woman, but why is it a woman? I glance down at the notes and reread the name of the person I'm supposed to meet with. Emile Rossi? I ask in a tone that clearly reveals my confused state, but she simply smiles and chuckles softly. It's Emily. Martha tends to rush when she types. Well, rush for her. In a rush, she's lucky to manage 20 words per minute, but we love the woman. It's a pleasure to meet you. I quickly stand and walk around my desk to her, extending my hand and shaking hers gently. It's a pleasure to meet you as well. MIA decides that this moment is the perfect time to make her presence known as she starts squirming and fussing with her jerky leg movements as she prepares for one of her famous nuclear meltdowns. "And who is this beautiful young lady?" She steps closer to the crib and stares softly at MIA with a beautiful smile on her face. That's MIA, and she should have slept for another hour at least. I rake my hand through my hair and quickly set out to make her a bottle. Oh, she just wants to see what Daddy's doing. May I? She gestures to MIA, who's now red in the face and doing the infamous silent cry that happens moments before her scream echoes through the halls, terrorizing all the employees on this floor. I give a quick nod, hoping to spare the rest of the office from suffering. She gently picks MIA up and cradles her against her, then sits in the glider and begins rocking and humming a tune I don't recognize, but May seems to dig it. Her soft blue eyes are staring at Emily S. with sheer fascination, and I must admit, I'm a little transfixed on her too. Having a moment of clarity, I take in the sight with open eyes. She is fairly short, maybe 5'4", has beautiful full-figured curves, wavy waist-length black hair, and the most unique pale blue eyes. I walk over with the bottle, and before I can offer to take over, she takes the bottle from my hand and begins feeding MIA as her attention snaps to me, and she dives right into business as if dealing with a fussy infant during a business meeting is standard practice. "Mr. Dixon, I was sent here to go over the proposal you sent into our office." there are a few things we wanted to address. The first being the money line for the project. You quoted the setup at the 3 hotels would cost us roughly $3.5 million. Mr. Anderson was a little intimidated by the price until I showed him the spreadsheet you sent us that broke down the cost of the equipment and the installation. That was very smart of you, by the way. That being said, would it be possible to factor in the remaining 5 hotels? He will also need to get a quote for the new hotel that will be opening next summer, so I'll let him know to contact you no later than December to ensure that you have time to prepare. I smile at the fact that she seems to know more about what she is here for than I do. Will you be the one we're working with on these projects? She looks down at MIA with a soft smile on her face. The way she's holding MEA, like she's the most precious thing in the world, it seems so strangely normal. Like I haven't been doing this alone since the second she left the hospital. Unfortunately, no. This is actually my last assignment with Mr. Anderson. I actually work in his legal department, but since I was coming here to finalize my paperwork and sign the lease for my apartment, I told him I would handle the meeting while I was here. I lean back against my desk and I feel my lips curl into a smile. You're moving here? To Danville? She nods her head and shifts her body to get more comfortable. I am. Actually, I'm moving here as in this building as well. Your partner, Mr. Cross, he hired me to be the head of your legal department. Mr. Anderson is just happy he'll have a familiar face when working with you and I needed a fresh start, so it all works out in the end. I watch as she grabs the burp cloth off the side of the crib, places it over her shoulder and gently burps MIA, then wipes her mouth before gently placing her in the crib. Well, I'm sure MIA will appreciate it too. I've never seen her take to anyone like that. And I haven't Mia has stranger danger issues that have her screaming every time someone new so much as gets too close to her, but she took to Emily as if they're the best of friends. I'll get the contracts for the original 3 properties sent over to you, and once Mr. Anderson signs off on the remaining properties, I'll make sure the contracts are drawn up immediately. I've agreed to help manage the new property's permits and paperwork, so I'll be sure to remind him when the time comes to get in touch with you. I can't hide the fact that I'm surprised by her agreeing to continue with work for his company when she'll very likely be quite busy here. It sounds like you'll be burning the candle at both ends for a while. She smiles and nods her head. I will be, but I assure you that it won't affect my work here. I'm being compensated well for this, so I couldn't refuse. I flash her a curious glance, but decide it's not really my place to ask any questions about what could be worth spreading yourself so thin for so long. Well, I'll look forward to working with you. Do you know when you'll be starting? She holds up her finger when she is cut off by her phone's ringtone. I see the strange look of discomfort when she looks at the screen, but answers it quickly. Hell hold, slow down. Take a deep breath and speak slowly so I can understand you. Yes. I know. Mama, you know you can't call me unless it's an emergency. No. Mama, I'm working so I need to. I'm in a meeting. Mar. I answered because I thought you might have been hurt. I'll be there in an hour. Oh. Okay. Dionio S on 5th. Got it. Yes, 6 sharp. Love you too, Mama. Bibby. She ends the call and holds her phone tightly with both hands as embarrassment washes over her and tints her cheeks red. I'm so unbelievably sorry. She usually does to call during work hours, so I thought I don't know maybe she fell or got hit by a car, something, but no. My mother called to confirm dinner plans during a meeting. I really am sorry. I give her a wide smile, trying to ease her nervousness. It's fine, really. Your mother lives here? Her smile shows her fondness for the woman that she was just getting frustrated with only moments ago. Yes. My mother and father live here and so do two of my brothers. It's part of why I wanted to move back. Family is very important to me, and I was too far away for far too long. It confuses me that she seems so young yet speaks as though she's already lived such a long life. I know it's considered rude to ask a woman her age. She cuts me off with a light-hearted chuckle before offering a quick response without sounding the least bit offended. No, it's not rude at all. I actually think that's the question I'm asked most frequently. I'm 24 and before you ask, I graduated at 16 with an Associate's degree in business finance from the community college and took extra courses during my 4 years to earn a bachelor's degree in business law and another in business administration. So, I may be young, but I promise you I'm more than qualified for the position. If it weren't for her pleasant tone and soft smile, I would have thought she was offended at the end. I have no doubt that you are, Emily. Do you have an official start date yet? Her smile brightens as she nods. I do. I'll be starting Monday, but they asked me to come in tomorrow to situate my office and place requests for anything I need for it. Her phone rings again and I can see her frustration come and then quickly fade when she sees the name on the screen. It's Mr. Anderson. She answers the call and I can hear his voice come through the line before she even has a chance to greet him. Yes, Mr. Anderson. Yes, I'm with him now. Oh, I definitely think we'll be able to work something out. Wait, you're joking. No, that's fantastic news. No, it's not a problem. Yes, sir. Email me the details and I'll look it over and set up a date to visit the property with the architect, then I can sit down with Mr. Dixon and sort out the details from there. I'm honored, sir. I will. Yes, thank you. Goodbye. She takes a deep breath as she hangs up the phone and meets my gaze as a beautiful, bright smile forms on her face. I think I'm going to need a bigger candle. He's been bidding on a property for the last 3 years and it's stunning. It'll, of course, need to be fully renovated and modernized, but it will be the biggest and most profitable of all his properties to date. You know of the old Greenwich Plaza building? There's no way she's saying what I think she is. I definitely know the place. The one on 8th and Broadway? She nods excitedly. Yes. It's an outdated, 17-floor building with a total of 320 standard rooms and 3 penthouse suites. He plans to renovate the rooms, expanding them to make apartments which will limit the number of rooms to 130. With the shops in the courtyard, he plans to bring in high-end clothing stores, jewelry stores, a gym, and a restaurant. The requirements for security and full system overhaul will put the budget for the project he wishes to contract you for at about $34.3 million. I need to wait for him to send the details to verify he's made no further changes though. I feel like my jaw is sitting on the floor as I register everything she is saying. I can't believe it. That's amazing. I don't know what to say. I'm not used to being left speechless, but here I am, absolutely and undeniably without a clue as to what to say. I'm hoping you'll say yes. She gives me a cheeky grin and folds her arms over her chest. I think we can certainly come to an agreement. She glances at the clock on the wall above MES crib, and I see her smile falter a little. I hope so. I really should be going, but I'm glad you were able to meet with me today and will look forward to working with you in the near future. She shakes my hand before leaving and very quietly closing the door behind her. Emily. Walking into my new office this morning was a surreal experience. Mr. Anderson had always treated me as a valuable asset, but being hired fresh out of college, I had to constantly prove to everyone there that I belonged. That isn't the case here at CD Enterprise. I was hired, not to be a member of their legal department, but to run it. When I arrived last Friday to get my office set up, I met all of the employees who will be working under me, and even with my undeniable youth, no one questioned it or made me feel out of place. I'm actually the youngest person working in the company, which is something I'm proud of, but it also makes me feel the need to prove my worth to them. I just finished lunch when the email from Mr. Anderson came through about the new property, and I'm so excited that I choose not to wait to take it to Mr. Dixon. I still have 30 minutes left, so I send the file to my printer, run up to my office, grab the data sheets and diagrams from the printer, then head for Mr. Dixon's office on the 7th floor. The elevator doors open, and I'm immediately met with the blood-curdling scream of a baby. I can see the discomfort the office staff are feeling, and without thinking, I rush straight into his office and close the door. The sight before me is both comical and heartbreaking in equal measure. Mr. Dixon is in the rocking chair trying to feed MIA, but she's just not having it. He looks like he's on the verge of a complete mental and emotional breakdown, and I can't stand it. May I? I motion to MIA, and he gives me a defeated look while nodding his head. I carefully take her from his arms and walk to the leather couch in the corner of the room, then carefully lay down so that MIA is laying with her chest to mine and her head is resting below my chin. I begin humming the tune of Silent Lucidity by Queensrÿche while patting her butt softly. It takes only a minute for her cries to stop, and only another 2 minutes for her to start falling asleep. I very slowly move so that I'm sitting up with her still laying against my chest. He hasn't taken his eyes off of me since the second I took her from him, so I silently hand him the papers and watch his reaction, offering him a warm smile when I see the shock on his face when he sees the projected budget that's 17 million over the estimate I originally gave him. Mr. Dixon spent just over 30 minutes reviewing the information I gave him, and I finally get up and gently place MIA in her crib as he's scanning the last page. I grab the baby monitor off the changing table and motion for him to follow me, leading him to the break room before actually breaking our silence. I figure you could use a cup of coffee and a moment to catch your breath. I set up the coffee maker to start brewing a fresh pot of coffee. Then, after a long moment of silence, I speak the words that my mother had once spoken to me. It gets easier. As hard as these moments may seem, they will pass in the blink of an eye and become nothing more than a distant memory. Before you know it, she'll be laughing, walking, talking, and you'll look back and miss the little girl who depended on you so greatly. I grab 2 mugs and set them on the counter before turning to face him. You sound like someone who has experience. Do you have any children? I blink back the tears that I feel pooling in my eyes and shake my head, turning my back to him before he can see how much that simple question affected me. No. How do you take your coffee? He sighs and lets out a nervous chuckle. Can we just hook it up to an 4? I smile, not that he can see it. I suppose you could try, but I wouldn't personally recommend it. I hear another soft sigh before he speaks again, sounding much more relaxed. I like my coffee black. So, how did you get Anderson to agree to a budget increase? He's a great man, a smart businessman, but he certainly isn't a big spender. I pour coffee into both mugs, then turn and hand one to him. Mr. Anderson trusts my judgment, and I explain to him the particular ins and outs of what would help the property to be most highly profitable. I still need to meet with his contractors and the architect, which I'll be doing on Saturday, and if possible, I would like to take someone from here with me to help ensure we have an accurate list of equipment and labor costs. I know it's not ideal since it would be asking someone to sacrifice one of their days off, so if no one's available, I'll make do. I take a sip of the coffee and he smirks when I scrunch up my face. I love coffee, but I need mine to be strong, dark, and bitter. The substance in this cup is like tinted water with an aftertaste of despair. How the hell does anyone drink this? I pull out my phone and load up the DoorDash app, then find the coffee shop with the fastest delivery option. Not a fan of the coffee? I glance up from my phone with a raised brow. No offense, but that isn't tea coffee. I'm ordering some real coffee. Want one? He nods and sets his untouched coffee on the round table in the break room. I'll go with you for the inspection. My mother can watch MIA for the day. Hell, I could use the break. I place the order and look up with a soft smile. If you're ever having trouble with her, you can bring her down to my office so you can take a breather. I don't mean to pry, and by no means do you have to answer, but is MEAS mother in the picture? His expression tells me everything I need to know, but he still answers. No, she's not. I nod in understanding and make my way over to the baby monitor, staring at the peacefully sleeping baby on the small screen. Being a single parent is hard. You obviously have some family who can help you, so don't be afraid to lean on them once in a while. My ringtone cuts through the calm silence that have fallen over us, and I roll my eyes when I see my mother's name on the screen. I send the call to voicemail, but she calls right back like the relentless woman she is. They're persistent. He states with a smirk on his face as I finally cave and swipe the screen to answer the call with a heavy sigh. Memar, you need to stop calling me at work. Emily, your nonner and nonno are flying in. We're having the family over for dinner tonight and you must come. What time is dinner? 6. I'll be off around 5, so I'll try to be on time. But Mamar, I need to go. I was just talking to my new boss when you called. Oh, let me speak with him. Is he nice like Mr. Anderson was? Memar. I'm not handing him the phone so you can interrogate him. Emily, you listen to your Memar and hand him the phone. I'm about to protest when he holds his hand out with a warm smile on his face. I reluctantly pass him the phone after seeing the message on my screen that my driver has arrived with our coffee. I step out to the reception desk where a drink carrier with 2 coffees sits with my name written on the side of both cups. I take the carrier back into the break room where Mr. Dixon is having a very animated conversation with my mother while smiling brightly and chuckling at everything she says. Yes, that would be wonderful. Okay, well I'll let you talk to Emily. You as well. He hands me the phone and I place one of the coffees in his hand. Okay, Mamar, I need to get back to work, but I'll see you all tonight. I love you. I end the call before she can start rambling on, something I will surely hear about when I arrive for dinner. She is a very sweet woman. I chuckle and shake my head. She is a little overbearing at times, but I love her. I'm sorry for anything she may have said that was inappropriate. She tends to speak without thinking. God, I hope she didn't say anything to embarrass me. She was very polite. She actually asked me to join your family for dinner tonight. If it would be uncomfortable for you, I can tell her something came up. I just couldn't say no over the phone. She's very persuasive. I take a drink of my coffee and nod in agreement. She always has been. It won't be uncomfortable for me, but for you? Have you ever been to a traditional Italian family dinner? His brow creases for a moment as if he is thinking very seriously about his answer. No, I haven't. Should I be worried? I chuckle and shrug my shoulders. You're in for quite the experience, Mr. Dixon. I'll email you the address when I get back to my desk. He smiles and takes another drink of his coffee as Wade, the analyst for the legal department, walks in with a stern expression on his usually smiling face. Ms. Rossi? We have an issue that I need your help with. Someone's disputing the terms of their contract and I've tried to get this guy to understand, but he's just not listening. I set my cup on the counter and lean against it. What line is he on? His nervous expression tells me that today is going to get more interesting. He is in my office. I smirk and nod my head absent-mindedly. Well, Mr. Dixon, time to show you all why you hired me. I push off the counter and walk to the elevator with Wade, taking it down to the 5th floor. Wade stops beside the closed door to his office, seeming apprehensive about entering the room, but I walk straight in and take the seat behind his desk where I find myself staring at an older man with grey hair and a cheap grey suit. I hear you have an issue with your contract. He stares at me as if this must be a joke, and I know it's because I'm so young, but I have a feeling that my being a woman plays a large role as well. No one wants to take me seriously until I give them no other choice. I see Mr. Dixon stop in the doorway, but thankfully he remains silent and allows me to take the reins. You all think you're so sneaky. You added things to the contract that I did not agree to. I need the entire 3rd floor redone, but your company refuses to honor our contract. You added in that I declined the extended service coverage and that I chose not to pay for the upgrade coverage. He's shouting at me, but it's nothing I haven't dealt with before. The situation is clearly making Mr. Dixon angry, and I can see it in the white on his knuckles as he clenches his fists tightly. Mr. Harris, I have thoroughly reviewed your contract, and I'm aware that your lawyer reviewed it and went over every detail with you before you willingly signed it. You chose not to pay for the additional services, then signed the contract after it had been explained to you by your own attorney. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do for you in regard to the contract, but we can still help you by creating a new contract for the work you need done on the 3rd floor of your property. You'll be required to pay the quoted price as you chose not to pay for service and upgrade services. Mr. Harris is seething and I can see him struggling to keep his temper in check, but he'll fail, they always do. After a tense moment of silence, he stands up and slams his fists on the desk. You'll be hearing from my lawyer. I take a deep breath and exhale slowly. Very well. But I must inform you that with the legally binding contract that was signed by both you and your attorney, we'll be requiring you to pay for any court-related fees, and if you should choose to take us to court, we will be countersuing for slander in regard to the messages you posted on your Instagram account that labeled our company, and I quote, unreliable and unwilling to honor our contracts with our clients. You really shouldn't name companies you have a grievance with on your social media accounts, sir. It's bad business. The post and all of the comments associated with it have already been forwarded to the firm that handles our business. I had hoped you would be reasonable and that we could handle this like adults, but if you're unwilling, I can't force you. He stands for a long, silent, tense moment before dropping back into the seat. You're not what I was expecting. Get the contract drawn up and have the adjuster come out to give me a quote. I want all of the service and upgrade services added. His voice is strained and I know how much it bothers him to have to concede to me, but doesn't he really have a choice? I'll have them sent over tomorrow morning. Thank you for your time, Mr. Harris. We both stand and he manages to surprise me when he extends his hand. I shake it firmly, then watch as he leaves. Damn, Emily. How the hell did you not slap the shit out of him when he yelled at you? Wade is smiling wide as he takes the seat Mr. Harris had just vacated and Mr. Dixon takes the other. He is not the first man to throw a tantrum in front of me after not getting his way, and I doubt he'll be the last. I need to get back to my office and finish up, otherwise my mother will come in here and drag me out kicking and screaming. I stand up and both men follow, watching as I walk out of the office and down the hall to where my personal office is located. Xander. After work, I ran home to change both myself and MIA into something comfortable and refill her diaper bag with her necessities. Emily had sent me an email with the address to her family's home, and while part of me is nervous about taking MIA to a dinner with a strange family, another part is excited to get out and away from work and the home that reminds me too much of the tragedies that are still so fresh in my mind. Pulling up in front of the home, I'm surprised to see that it's almost as extravagant as mine, but it has a much more inviting, lived-in feel. I remove the carrier from the car, thankful that MIA is still sleeping soundly, and make my way to the door that's pulled open before I can even knock. You must be Mr. Dixon. I'm Antonio, Emily's oldest brother. Come on in. He steps aside and I walk past him, taking in the beautiful foyer that's littered with family photos and bright artwork. It's nice to meet you. I appreciate that you all have allowed me to join you this evening. He flashes a toothy smile and runs a hand through his short black hair. Let us see if you're still as appreciative after spending a little time with us. He motions for me to follow him as he leads me into a large living room with a huge mocha-colored U-shaped sectional couch at the center, 2 matching recliners on either end, dark wooden end tables separating them, and a dark round wood coffee table at the center of the U. All of the seats are filled with men of various ages, but all of them bear some resemblance to Emily. This is Pupper, Nono, Tito, Julian, Carlo, Dimitri, and Paolo. The little ones over there are Sophia, Isabella, and Vito. Come, the women are in the kitchen. They all shake my hand and welcome me to their home with warm smiles. I voice a polite hello before following him into the largest kitchen I've ever seen in a home, and my eyes immediately find the pale blue eyes of Emily sitting on a stool on the far side of the large island. Antonio stands quietly as the women are speaking, though I'm not sure if it is out of respect or fear, but I smile either way. The joy and laughter in this single room is heartwarming. Emily, you're much too thin, dolce bambino. I watch those pale blue eyes roll dramatically and have to hold back my laughter. Nonna, I'm fine, I promise. Antonio clears his throat, probably realizing they weren't going to willingly stop their banter. Mamar, Nonner, Tia, Miller, Lucia, Gia, Gabriella, Cecilia, and of course you know our Emily. Emily's eyes light up when she sees me, and she waves me over to the empty seat beside her. You have a very large family. I chuckle as everyone goes back to their discussion. This is only a small part of my family. Most of them are still in Italy. They all live fairly close to Nonna and Nonno. I can see how much she loves her family as her eyes scan the room, and her smile grows with each person she sees before her. They're all so friendly. I wasn't expecting such a warm welcome. Emia begins fussing in her seat, and Emily hops off the stool and drops to the floor beside her. May I? I don't know why I love the fact that she asks, but I do. Of course. I think she likes you more than me anyway. I smile as I watch her recline the handle, carefully unstrap her, then she lifts her and holds her to her chest. As she slowly rises to her feet, I keep hold of her shoulders to help steady her until I'm confident that she is stable. Hello, Miss Emia. You look so beautiful. She positions her so that Emia's head is in the crook of her arm while her hand is rested over her diaper-covered bottom. Oh my oh. Che prezioso angeletto. Oh my. What a precious little angel. The woman, Nonna, states in a soft voice. Nonna, this is Emia. I see a tear slip down the woman's face, and I watch Emily's smile drop when she notices it. Emily, it's unfair, dolce ragazza. Emily carefully hands Mia back to me, then quickly leads her grandmother out of the room. You'll have to excuse her. She's having a hard time dealing with everything. Emily will have her smiling again soon. Come, we can talk while Emily takes care of Nonna. Emily's mother states in a confident tone, then leads me onto the patio and motions for me to sit down on the gliding 2-seat chair while she sits across from me. It's, thankfully, a warm evening, perfect for sitting outside and rocking Emia. I appreciate you inviting us tonight. I'm sorry if this is too forward, and you certainly don't have to answer if it'll cause any problems. But what did Nonna mean when she said it's unfair? I can see the subtle shift in her expression. Her smile is one used to mask sadness, and the light in her eyes has dulled. It's not my story to tell, sadly. Emily has not told you why she moved here, so she may have a reason why. Just know that she's a brilliant and loving woman, but beneath her hard and confident exterior is a raging storm. She has been through so much for one so young. The sound of laughter from within the house causes her to fall silent as she gazes lovingly at the women within the kitchen, where we can see Emily and Nonna, both now back with the rest of the group as Gia is telling them a very animated story. She's an amazing woman. You raised her well. She bursts out laughing and pats my thigh. You don't raise someone like her, you survive them. She was the most difficult of all my children because she was so independent and so smart. She insisted on doing everything for herself and never asked for help, not until a few years ago. I turn and watch as she clearly slips away to some far memory before shaking it off and widening her smile. Come. Dinner is almost ready. We walk in and I notice Emily is no longer in the kitchen, but before I can think too much about it, I hear roaring laughter from the children in the living room that's quickly joined by the most beautiful, joyous laughter I've ever heard. I walk to the doorway to the living room to find Emily on the floor with all of the children piled on top of her as they try to tickle her. Watching her now, dressed casually in a pair of grey leggings and a black t-shirt that fits her perfectly while being buried under laughing children, I realize just how beautiful this woman truly is. While her external beauty is more than pleasant to look at, it's the internal beauty that's caught me by surprise. I also can't overlook the way MIA took to her instantly. This baby is a screeching, crying bundle of destruction when strange people hold her, and yet with Emily, it's as if they connected on some level that I haven't even managed to reach yet. Dinner is ready. Everyone to the table. Emily's mother announces cheerfully. Everyone makes their way to the table, and I'm happy to see they sat me next to Emily. They made lasagna, garlic bread, a garden salad and a pasta salad that all look amazing. After dishing up our plates, I get 2 bites in before Emma decides she's done being the quiet, complacent baby. Her screech is nearly deafening and my attempts to calm her are useless, but then Emily saves the day once again. She has a mouthful of food, but turns and gestures to take Emma, allowing me to choose to hand her over, which still means so much to me for reasons I don't quite understand. We do a quick trade-off, then I hurry to make a bottle while Emily bounces and rocks Emma, who stops crying almost immediately. As soon as I hand the bottle to Emily, I watch as she magically manages to balance the bottle between her chin and chest, successfully feeding MIA while continuing to eat as if this is the most natural thing to do in this situation. Mr. Dixon, how is it working with Emily? Is she as much of a pain in your ass as she is ours? Antonio asks with a smirk on his face that awards him with a middle finger from Emily, who manages to not miss a beat while holding the bottle and feeding herself. Please, you can call me Xander. Emily is actually quite the force to be reckoned with at the office. I watch as Antonio nods as if he already knew this. How do you manage working such long hours with such a small child? Does her mother help? I feel the twinge in my heart, but force a smile that I'm sure is unconvincing. Her mother isn't in the picture, but I have a nursery set up in the office for her. I didn't want to have a nanny or daycare raising her, so it was my best option. It may not be as practical once she's older, but it was the best option for right now. She nods her head while looking like she has something she wants to say, but is debating on whether or not she should. That's lovely. It's very admirable to want to take such an active role. I can tell that isn't what she wanted to say, but I'm glad she didn't ask more about MES mom, because I'm not sure I could tell her. Thank you, but I don't think the other employees would agree. I chuckle and Emily giggles softly beside me. I notice the way Nonna continues to watch Emily with tears pooling in her eyes, and I can't help but wonder why, though I don't think it's something I could bring myself to ask, especially not over dinner. I'm going to go out on the patio. Would it be okay if I took MIA with me? I look up at Emily, who also seems a little less cheerful than she was only moments ago. At this point, I think you're her favorite person in the world, so of course you can. If it makes MIA happy, then I'm happy. She smiles, but it doesn't quite reach her eyes. Everyone at the table watches as she walks out the glass French doors and takes a seat on the gliding chair, then begins singing softly, barely loud enough to be heard. Excuse me, a nonna announces in a soft voice as she stands up and leaves the table to join Emily outside. Everyone stares after them for a long tense moment before returning to their scattered conversations. I help to clear the table and offer to help wash the dishes, but Emily's mom forces me out of the kitchen with a smile on her face. Nonna is coming inside, so why don't you go keep our Emily company until dessert? She isn't asking, she's telling me to go and I don't have any desire to argue. I feel like I need to go to her and make sure she's okay. When I reach the doorway, I can hear her singing and it's a song I actually know. I realize it's the song she had been humming to MIA in my office, though with the lyrics being added, I can finally recognize it, and I stand and watch her, listening to her beautiful voice as she sings to my sweet MEA. Hush now, don't you cry. Wipe away the teardrop from your eye. You're lying safe in bed. It was all a bad dream spinning in your head. Your mind tricked you to feel the pain of someone close to you leaving the game of life. So here it is, another chance. Wide awake you face the day. Your dream is over. Or has it just begun? I walk out the door and she stops singing as soon as she hears me. I watch as I walk to her and she quickly wipes her eyes, but I already saw the tears she's trying so desperately to hide. I take a seat next to her and we sit in silence for a moment before I speak into existence something I never thought I could. MEA's mom, Jenner, died giving birth to MEA. The whole pregnancy was a shock since she found out only 1 month after her husband, my brother Max, died. MEA was brought into this world without ever getting to meet her mother or father. I didn't even know I was appointed her legal guardian in Jenner's will until a few days after she passed away. I was left to mourn the loss of my brother, my sister-in-law, and raise a baby with no clue of how to do it, and it all happened in less than a year. So many times, I find myself looking at her and wondering what the hell Jenner was thinking. You make this look so easy, but I just can't seem to do anything right. MEA looks just like Maximum. She has Jenner's nose and mouth, but the rest of her is all Maximum. I always find myself wondering if I'm good enough to be the father she deserves since I wasn't the father she was meant to have. I feel the tears falling, but I don't try to stop them. I haven't once let myself feel everything as much as I am at this moment, and it feels like a weight being lifted off me. I'm sorry, Xander. I can tell you that you're doing an amazing job. You should give yourself more credit. I think you're both trying to adjust and she can feel your emotions. If you're sad, tired, angry, happy, she feels that. She feels all of it. No one can expect you to go through what you have and not be affected. We fall silent for a long moment before her shaking voice speaks in such a soft tone that I wouldn't have heard her if I hadn't been sitting right beside her. Lucian. My son's name was Lucian. My eyes focus on her falling tears while my mind locks onto the word was. Her son's name was Lucian. Dessert is ready. Emily's mother calls out from the kitchen. Emily wipes away her tears and closes her eyes for a moment before forcing a smile and standing up. I follow her into the house where she takes a seat at the table, declining to eat dessert while everyone else digs into the tiramisu without hesitation. I steal glances at her far more frequently than I should, observing the loving look as she stares down at MIA, but I notice something I hadn't seen before, and maybe it's because I didn't have a reason to. The love in her eyes is accompanied by a look of longing, a longing for what she once had, for her son, her Lucian. After everyone finishes eating, Emily and I both say our goodbyes. We both have work tomorrow and I need to get MIA to bed. Emily's farewell to her grandmother was spoken in Italian, but whatever was said, had both women smiling as they kissed each other's cheeks. She walked me to my car and opened the back door so I could get MIA's carrier in. Thank you for coming tonight and I'm sorry. I promise that our dinners aren't usually filled with so much emotion. I can tell she's embarrassed about me seeing her in such a vulnerable state, but she shouldn't be. I was just as vulnerable and she is the first person to bear witness to me in such a state. Don't apologize. I shouldn't have thrown all that out there, but dinner was amazing. Your family is amazing. She smiles at me, but doesn't meet my gaze. I'll see you tomorrow. I nod and stand there awkwardly for a moment before responding. Yeah, see you tomorrow. Drive safe. She nods and walks away, climbing into a silver Dodge Charger. I watch her pull out of the driveway and wait to pull out until she drives off, leaving me with a lot of questions that I have no business asking. I got home just before 10 and was able to get MIA to bed with little trouble, but I can't get my mind to stop racing. It's currently midnight and I finally decide to pull out my laptop and do an internet search, convinced that if I don't find any answers, I'll simply go to bed and let myself worry about it tomorrow. I wish it could be so easy, but the internet is a powerful and destructive tool that turned up the results far too easily. The first result is an obituary for a child. Lucian Dante Rossi Ferris, born 09/12/2020, died 05/2020-21. Lucian is survived by his mother, Emily Shea Rossi, and father, Jacoby David Ferris, his 4 grandparents, 17 aunts and uncles and 2 great-grandparents. At the bottom of the announcement are the details for the location of the services. My stomach is twisted in knots as I scroll to the next search result, which is for the local paper in Bakersfield, California. Son of local businessman, Jacoby Ferris passed away shortly after his surgery to repair a heart defect. I skimmed the rest of the article, not failing to notice that Emily was not mentioned once, though the photograph at the bottom of the article was of Emily, a man I assume to be Jacoby and an infant who looks exactly like Emily. I lay down in my bed and am flooded with thoughts of the woman who has suffered a loss far greater than even my own. We have both suffered losses that are unfathomable for most, but somehow I can't help feeling her loss is much more tragic than my own. I find myself thinking about the father of her child and wonder if the loss is the reason they aren't together anymore. I know that losing a child can cause such great strain on a relationship, and oftentimes the relationship doesn't survive. Emia isn't even my child biologically, but when she was born, the thought of losing her was soul-crushing and the thought only becomes more unbearable with every day I spend with her. I toss and turn as I drown in thoughts of the tragedy that is Emily's life, but sleep never comes. Emily. After the disaster of a dinner that ended in too many people shedding too many tears, things at work have seemed tense, at least between Xander and I. I don't know if it's because we both shared something that we can't take back, or maybe we don't know how to process what the other shared, but things are definitely off. The day after the dinner, he looked so exhausted and I wanted to comfort him. But how do you comfort someone who lost his sibling and their spouse then had the responsibility of their newborn child thrust upon them when they should have been grieving? Tomorrow is the day that I meet with the contractors and architect for the new property, but Xander and I haven't exactly finalized our plans for if he'll be going with me. He said he would, but we haven't mentioned it since, and it was over a week ago when he agreed to go. I decide to play it safe, or take the coward's way out I suppose, and send him an email. Mr. Dixon. I'll be meeting with the contractors and architect at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Mr. Anderson will be flying in to attend the meeting as well. If you would like to go, please let me know so I can send you the passcodes for the gate. Emily. I don't even have time to return to the contract I was reviewing before I get a response. Emily. Of course I'm going. Send me your address and we can ride together to make things easier. Xander. I send him my address, then return to work, hoping the day passes by quickly. An hour before the end of the workday, I submit a request for time off, asking to have September 12th through 15th off. Just before I shut down my computer for the night, I get the email from HR letting me know that my time off request was approved by Xander. In 1 month, my son would have been turning 2. He would have been walking, talking, getting into all kinds of mischief. I swallow down my tears and head home, lost in thoughts of the future my son will never get to be a part of. I woke up 2 hours before my alarm and decided to hit the gym before getting ready. That was a bad decision. I made it back to my penthouse less than an hour before I needed to be ready for Xander to pick me up. I took the fastest shower I've ever taken and am finishing getting dressed when I hear the doorbell. I still have my hair wrapped in a towel when I rush out and open the door. Hey, I'm running a little behind, but come on in. I should only be a few more minutes. Xander walks in as I rush back to my bedroom to finish up. I use just enough product in my hair to scrunch it up so the curls will be more defined, then throw on a little eyeliner and mascara. I slip my black ballet flats on, grab my phone and purse, then hurry out to the foyer. This penthouse is beautiful. I glance around, not sharing his appreciation in the slightest. It's not exactly home, but it'll do for now. Are you ready? He nods and opens the door for me. We make it to his car with minimal conversation, the tension still feeling much too thick for my liking, but I don't know how to diffuse it. We're quiet until we are about 2 blocks away from my apartment, and he finally seems to have had enough. Is everything okay? I know the dinner at your parents' place was a little heavy, but I didn't mean to upset you. I know I shouldn't have said anything about my brother, and I cut off his nervous rambling, unsure if I'm trying to spare him or myself. No, it's okay. I just don't talk about him. It's too hard. I guess I just don't know how to handle people knowing. I'm glad you told me about MAAS family. You didn't have to, but it means a lot that you did. He seems relieved and I watch his body relax in his seat. I don't talk about them either. It's too much and it's all still too fresh. I really didn't want to make you uncomfortable. I smile and feel my own relief at knowing he was as worried that we messed up our comfortable flow as I was. How's MEA? He smiles for the first time since he arrived to pick me up, and that simple gesture is enough to chase away the last remaining tension that lingered in the air. She's good. I think she misses her favorite person in the whole world, but she's good. I let out a soft sigh and stare out the front window. I missed her too. He pulls up to the gate, blocking the property where Mr. Anderson is waiting for us. He enters the gate code, then follows us in, directing us to park behind a large white SUV. We climb out and he greets me with his usual warm hug. Emily, we all have missed you. How's everything going with the new job? He pulls back and looks me over as if checking for damages before meeting my gaze. Neil, they're treating me wonderfully. Xander, this is Neil Anderson. Neil, this is Xander Dixon. Xander walks around the front of the car and shakes his hand while my attention is drawn to the man on the stairs. Are you kidding me? They'll let just about anybody in here. What the hell are you doing here, Zach? He flashes me a playful smile before rushing down the stairs to me. I watch as he gets closer and quickly step away from my new boss and former boss before Zach sweeps me into his arms and swings me around like a rag doll. Holy shit, I missed you. Wanna come see the blueprints? I nod and let him drag me to the building while the 2 men follow behind us. When he mentioned blueprints, I had expected blueprints for the property. So when he lays out blueprints for the house I helped him to design, my dream home, my tears begin to fall instantly. Emily, this is the reason I flew down. You've held up your end of our agreement and been an invaluable asset to us. I know we agreed that we would do this after the plaza was finished, but I couldn't wait. Construction should be completed by the end of September, so you should be able to move in by the second week of October. I throw my arms around Neil's neck and cry into his shoulder like a damn child. Thank you. He grabs my shoulders as he takes a step back and smiles at me with a fatherly smile that I've grown to love during my time working with him. Xander here is going to be installing the security system once it's finished. I look at Xander, who has an ear-splitting grin. You knew? He nods and I feel so lost on what to say. He called me last week. It's part of why I was avoiding talking to you too much. I'm terrible at keeping secrets. He chuckles and rubs his neck, something he seems to do when he is nervous or upset. I throw my arms around him, hugging him tightly. His body goes rigid, but after a few seconds the shock seems to wear off and he wraps his arms around me. Thank you. Thank you all so much. The tour of the property took longer than expected, but we got everything done that we needed to, and both Neil and Xander seemed quite pleased. As we pull away from the property, I feel excited by the fact that in a matter of months, I'll be moving into my dream home. So, was that what you meant when you said you were being well compensated for helping with this project? His voice is warm and his smile matches perfectly. Yes. The blueprints are ones I had drawn myself, but Zach helped me get the measurements perfected and figure out window placement, what building materials to use and the layout of all appliances, counters, etc. I can't believe I'll be moved in before the holidays. I'll be able to host Thanksgiving dinner in my new home. My home. God, that sounds so surreal. He chuckles beside me as I ramble excitedly. I love seeing this side of you. It's the first time I've seen you act even remotely close to your age. I scoff playfully, but can't keep a straight face, my smile returning in a matter of seconds. Who do you spend the holidays with? In our time together, I've only ever heard him mention his mother a few times, but now I realize I know nearly nothing about him beyond the details of his brother and sister-in-law's deaths. The holidays were always just my mom, Max, Jenner, and me, but this will be the first year without them. My mom doesn't seem interested in the celebrations this year, so I don't know. I honestly haven't thought much about it. I nod in understanding, knowing how hard it was for me after Lucian passed away. Well, I know it's a little ways away, but you and your mother are welcome to join us for Thanksgiving. I know it's not the same, but if it weren't for the support and sheer chaos of my family, I don't think I would have made it through my first Thanksgiving and Christmas without Lucian. While having a large family can be overwhelming, it's times like these when they save me from things I can't control, even from myself. He is quiet for a long moment, and I'm starting to wonder if maybe I overstepped. You know, that sounds wonderful. I want MIA's first Thanksgiving to be special. Besides, I don't think there's anyone she would rather spend the day with. Besides, your family is amazing. I can't guarantee that my mother will come, but I'll certainly extend the offer to her. We continue with our light conversation until we arrive at my apartment building 30 minutes later. We part ways and I spend the remainder of the evening in a blissful state while doing online window shopping for furniture for my future home. 2 weeks have passed since our meeting with Mr. Anderson, and work has been chaotic. I've worked long days, averaging around 13 to 14 hours a day between the work for Mr. Dixon and the extra workload I took on for Mr. Anderson. At this point, burning the candle at both ends is a drastic understatement. I've only been able to go up to see MIA a few times in the last couple weeks, and while it shouldn't bother me so much, it does. Today is another day where I'll be working into the late hours of the night since I've already finished with my work for Mr. Dixon and still have contract approvals to review for Mr. Anderson's projects and need to check the progress reports for the projects already in process. I arrive home at almost 7 and grab an apple to snack on while I get to work reviewing the reports. By 9, the words on the screen are swimming and I'm having trouble focusing when the welcome distraction of my phone ringing pulls me away. I see Xander's name on the screen and answer quickly, assuming there must be a work emergency since he is calling so late, but his voice is shaky and the sound of a raspy cry in the background has me putting on my shoes before he even utters the first word. Xander? I'm got croup, and I don't know how to calm her down. I don't know what to do. He is clearly struggling and I'm already stepping off the elevator and rushing to my car by the time he finally gets it all out. Give me your address and go to the bathroom. Turn on the shower as hot as you can get it, then close the door. 317 West Bradbury Street. Okay, the shower's on. The GPS says it'll take only 15 minutes to get there. Just hold on. I end the call and begin the drive to his house. The 15-minute estimate by the GPS did not account for traffic, but I managed to make it in just under 25. I only have to knock once before he flings the door open, holding a screaming MIA in his arms while looking more rugged than I've ever seen him. He has dark circles under his eyes, his white button-down shirt is disheveled and partially untucked, his hair is a mess and his green eyes are bloodshot. I step inside and carefully take MIA from him, not bothering to ask because I know he's well past his breaking point. Show me to the bathroom. He quickly leads me down a hall to a large bathroom that's filled with steam from the standing shower and I can feel him watching as I step into the separate bathtub and sit down, making myself as comfortable as I can while unbuttoning my shirt just enough to allow me's face and bare chest to rest against mine. I rub gentle circles on her back and she quickly settles, the sound of her raspy, rattling breaths filling the space that her screams once occupied. Xander, go take a shower and get something to eat. I've got her. He turns and leaves us in the bathroom, closing the door behind him. I sit in the empty bathtub with her for 30 minutes before carefully climbing out, shutting off the shower and stepping out, searching for the living room which I find on the other end of the house. I sit down in the recliner and slowly rock, back and forth while humming a melody to soothe her. After another 15 minutes, Xander comes downstairs looking much better than he did when I arrived, wearing only a pair of sweatpants and a white tank top. How is she? I look up at him with a tired smile, then look back down at the sleeping beauty in my arms. She is better for now. If she gets bad again, you should give her another round in the steam. Skin-on-skin contact helps calm her as well. Did they give you any medication for her? He nods and walks over to the end table by the couch to grab a packet of papers. Yeah, they gave her prednisolone at the hospital and did a nebulizer treatment. I nod my head and smile at the look of sheer exhaustion on his face. Lay down and get some rest. I've got MEA. He shakes his head and sits down on the couch. No, I can't ask you to sit here with her while I sleep. You're not my nanny, Emily. I shouldn't have even called you so late, but I was honestly so overwhelmed that I didn't know who else to call. You should go home and get some rest, Emily. Since I called you out so late, you can come in at 10 instead of 8. Go home and get some sleep. He stands up and reaches for MIA, but I hold my hand up to stop him. With all due respect, Xander, I didn't have to answer your call, nor did I have to come here. I chose to, and I'm choosing now to send your ornery ass to bed while I keep MIA company. You called me because you needed help and that's what I'm doing, helping you. Now get the hell out of here and get some rest. He stares at me with a shocked expression that slowly warps into a stunning smile. Yes, Maram. If you need me for anything, my room is upstairs, second door on the left. The nursery is the first door on the left. I nod and wave him off before returning my hand to MIA's back. The night was rather uneventful, with MIA only waking up a few times for feedings. We were both wide awake by 7, and I decided to busy myself with making breakfast while I've strapped her into her bouncer seat on the kitchen island. She seems extremely content with the music playing from my phone while I cook, reminding me so much of my sweet Lucian. I hadn't noticed Xander's presence until his standing beside me, reaching for a coffee cup in the cupboard to the right of me. I hope you don't mind that I dug through your kitchen. Breakfast will be ready in a few minutes. I don't know what you like, but since you had bacon and eggs, I figured it would be a safe bet. He chuckles and leans against the counter with his coffee cup in his hand. You really didn't have to do all this, Emily. You already helped so much just by being here with MIA. I can't tell you how thankful I am for you coming over last night. I felt so lost and helpless. I'm supposed to take care of her, but I couldn't do anything to make her feel better. It was literally the worst feeling in the world. I remove the bacon from the pan and plate the eggs with 3 strips of bacon, then hand it to him. It's hard to watch your child suffer and struggle, knowing there's nothing you can do to make it go away. She seems to be much better this morning though. She woke up a few times last night to eat, but otherwise slept peacefully. The rasp when she breathes is still there, but that should get better over the next few days. I walk around the island and sit down on one of the stools, then turn her bouncer to face me. Are you not eating? I smile and shake my head, never looking away from MEA's beautiful little face. I don't eat in the mornings. Would you mind if I used your bathroom to get ready for work? I have a change of clothes in my car. I look up to see a strange expression on his face that he quickly replaces with a smile. Of course. Remember, you don't have to be in until 10. I get up and hurry to my car to get my clothes and the overnight bag I always keep in it for emergencies. As soon as I finish getting dressed and making sure my hair and makeup look sufficient, I head back to the kitchen where Xander is washing the dishes from breakfast while MIA sleeps. Thank you for letting me borrow your bathroom to get ready. I need to head to the office to get started on the new contracts. If you have any issues with MIA today, feel free to bring her down to my office. He quickly dries off his hands and walks over to me. You don't need to rush out. It's only almost 8. Take some time to relax. I smile and a nervous laugh escapes me before I can stop it. I have another long day ahead of me, so I would rather get started early. Thanks again, Xander. I leave his house, feeling torn about leaving MIA when I want nothing more than to make sure she is okay, but I trust Xander to do what's necessary for her, not that it eases my worry. The days have dragged on, one day blending into the next, with a week having gone by in a blur since the night I spent with MIA in my arms. It's almost as if Xander could sense my worry because he's taken to emailing me several pictures of her each day with updates about her health that has greatly improved. Next week is Lucian's birthday and I can feel myself pulling away from everyone, something I do before his birthday and the anniversary of his death. Focusing on work is becoming increasingly difficult, and while Mr. Anderson knows why and would never judge me for it, I worry that Mr. Dixon may not be as understanding since he knows nothing of the reason for my request for time off or how much this time of year affects me. The closer it gets to the day Lucian was born, the further my mind gets from work and the more my heart aches. When my lunch hour finally arrives, I turn off the lights in my office and sit at my desk, trying to calm my racing mind and aching heart as the memories of my son come rushing in like a tidal wave. Holding Lucian to my chest, I can feel the gentle rise and fall of his tiny body as he takes steady breaths, the warmth of his breath against my skin like a calming balm to my worried heart. After visiting the doctor and finding out he's not growing at an appropriate pace, I can't help but wonder what I'm doing wrong. Am I not feeding him enough? Did I do something wrong while I was still pregnant? I want to make this right, to give him the best life and be the mother he deserves. But what if I'm not good enough? A knock on my door drags me from my memories, and I quickly rise from my chair, then hurry to the door. But I wasn't expecting Xander to be standing on the other side with little Emma fast asleep in his arms. "Mr. Dixon?" I stand in a state of confusion for a moment before stepping aside and letting him in. I close the door behind him and turn on the lamp beside my desk to offer light, while still keeping enough darkness to not wake the sleeping beauty in his arms. "I wanted to come by and check on you since you've been so busy lately." He takes a seat in one of the chairs in front of my desk, and I take my seat in my chair behind it, hoping the shadows will help mask my tired appearance. "I know I've been struggling with keeping up the past few days, and I apologize. I've requested vacation time for next week and should be well rested and clear-headed by the time I return." He studies me for a long moment before Mia's soft grunts signal that she's waking up. He gets up and walks around my desk, then places her in my arms like it's the most natural thing in the world. "I'm not worried about your work, Emily. I'm worried about how hard you're working yourself, and I think maybe you should cut back a little. You have nothing to prove since we're all very aware of how hard you work. Maybe you should consider taking the entire week off next week. You've more than earned it." Looking down at Mia's beautiful blue eyes is calming my body and soul in ways I've never thought possible, making it feel like I can actually breathe again. I let his words flow through my mind while I consider the fact that my work is already being so greatly affected by my current state of emotional and mental destruction. I think I will, if it won't be an issue for the company. I stare down at Emma and feel my heart skip a beat and my breath catch in my chest when I see her tiny lips curl up while her beautiful eyes are cracked open just enough for her to look up at me. "Oh my God, she is smiling at you." I gently grab her tiny little hand and let her fingers wrap around my index finger as a single tear slips free. "What a beautiful little smile, Miss Mea. What a sweet little angel." We spend the rest of my lunch break trying to get her to smile again before he finally takes her and retreats back to his office while I return to work, trying to wrap up everything I can since my week off will begin tomorrow. I've never taken more than 3 days off to face my past, but maybe it's exactly what I need. Or maybe it'll give me too much time to get lost in memories and spiral. I finish up all my tasks for Xander, a decent amount of my work for Neil, then set up my out-of-the-office messages before packing up my things and heading out of the office. Time to go home to my cold, lonely apartment to begin the week-long break to mourn my son, Xander. Before the end of the day Friday, I sent out a company-wide email to let everyone know that Emily would be unavailable for the following week and instructed them to forward any work that needed immediate handling to me so I could ensure she would take the time to focus on herself, not work. I spent the weekend trying to focus on Mia and enjoying the new milestone of her smiles, but the look of heartbreak on Emily's face Friday has been stuck in my mind. It's Tuesday morning, and while I wanted to give Emily her space to process this moment in peace, I sent her a text to ask if there is anything she might need since I need to go to the store and pick up things for Mia after work. The day passes slowly, and by the time I'm preparing to leave at 5 in the evening, the message I sent her has not yet been read. I try my best to convince myself that she probably just shut off her phone to spend her week off in peace, but I have a nagging feeling that I should check on her. I finish at the store just before 7, and as much as I feel like I should see if Emily is okay, I return home to spend the evening with Mea. Today should be just another Wednesday, but it's far from it. It's September 12th, and while that's just a normal day to most, it's anything but normal for Emily. She doesn't know that I know what the day means to her, but I do, and I'm finding it's the only thing I can think about. I decided as soon as I woke up this morning that I would bring her dinner so that I can check on her, but the universe seems to have other plans. My receptionist calls in, and I'm surprised by the reason behind it. "Mr. Dixon, I have a Maribel Rossi on line 1 for you. Would you like to take the call, or should I take a message?" It takes me a moment to respond, but I quickly come to my senses. "I'll take the call, thank you." I quickly pick up my phone and connect to line 1. Hello, this is Xander Dixon. Xander, this is Emily S. Mom. I've been trying to reach her at home and in her office, but she is not answering. Is she there today? No, she took the week off. I thought as much. I'll have her brother check in on her after he gets off work. Thank you, Xander. Mrs. Rossi, I'll go check on her right now. Can you give me your number so I can call and let you know how she is doing? Xander, that may not be the best idea. She has a reason for her silence, and I don't know how she'll react to your visit. I know it's Lucian's birthday today. She shouldn't he be alone? She doesn't he have to be alone? After a moment of silence, she gives me her phone number as well as the access code for Emily's penthouse, and as soon as I end our call, I contact my mother to ask her to watch MIA for me. I drop MIA off with my mother and head straight to Emily's, hoping that she doesn't react poorly to me visiting her. Arriving at her penthouse, I knock several times without her answering before finally using the access code her mother gave me. As I walk in the door, I'm about to call out to her when I spot the fluttering of the curtains over the sliding glass door that leads to the balcony, letting me know the doors are open. I quietly walk to the doors, pulling back the curtains to find her sitting on a lounge chair with her knees drawn tightly to her chest while a photo album lies on the ground beside her. Emily? I want her to look at me. I want her to show me that she is going to be okay, but instead, her head drops to her knees as her body shakes with her silent sobs. I walk over and pick up the photo album, glancing briefly at the pictures of her with an infant that looks like a miniature version of her before setting it on the table beside her chair and kneeling down beside her. I place my hand on her shoulder and she falls apart, her sobs no longer silent, and the heartbroken cries coming from her are enough to shatter me. I pull her against me and try to hold her together, offering her the only comfort I know. I can feel her resistance withering as she slowly melts into me, accepting my comfort and bringing me a slight sense of relief. After crying in my arms for nearly an hour, she fell asleep and I carefully carried her into the penthouse and sat with her on the couch, still holding her while sending her mother a text message to let her know that I'm doing what I can for her daughter. Emily's breathing is steady, but the fluttering of her eyes and soft whimpers tell me she is having a dream, and I can easily imagine what it is that is plaguing her sleep. I gently stroke her hair and whisper calming words of comfort to her that surprisingly seem to help her as her whimpers become silent and she nuzzles into my neck. It's nearly 4 in the afternoon when she finally begins to stir, and I look down to find her pale blue eyes staring up at me. Hey, how are you feeling? She rubs her eyes with the back of her hand, then slowly slides onto the seat beside me. I've been better. Why are you here? Her tone isn't harsh, but rather broken and defeated. Because you shouldn't have to be alone. I'm here because this is where I should be at this moment. I was also hoping you might come with me to pick up MIA and allow me to cook you dinner at my house. I watch as she goes through several different emotions before settling on confusion. You know, don't you? It's spoken as a statement, but I choose to answer her anyway. Yes. If I'm being honest, I looked into your situation after the dinner at your parents' house. I know I should have respected your privacy, but my curiosity won over against my common sense. I'm sorry I invaded your privacy, but I'm not sorry I came here today. I don't know how I expect her to react, but it definitely did not include what comes out of her mouth next. Lucian was 9 months old when he passed away. Large ventricular septal defect. His condition was missed by all of the doctors and the ultrasound technician. We had missed our last ultrasound appointment due to my having contracted COVID, and I went into labor 5 weeks early. He seemed healthy and passed all of the screenings, so we didn't know. God, I miss him so fucking much. She drops her head into her hands as her tears begin to fall. I pull her into my side and let her cry until she runs out of tears. I'm surprised at how willing she was to come with me to get MIA, and while I hadn't expected to introduce her to my mother this way, she gets out of the car without giving me the chance to offer for her to wait there. We walk into my mother's house and are met with the loud screech of MIA in the middle of one of her meltdowns. We both rush to the family room to find my mother trying and failing to comfort the poor child while looking like she might need some comforting as well. I pick MIA up and hand her to Emily so I can focus on calming my mother when the cries instantly stop and we both look over to see Emily and MIA staring into each other's eyes intently. Who is this angel and what kind of magic does she possess? My mother asks while chuckling in disbelief. Mom, this Emily. I don't know what it is, but she and MIA have a very special bond. She nods, clearly seeing their closeness for herself. She seems troubled. Perhaps they are bonded through loss. Lost souls tend to gravitate toward one another. I'm grateful to her for speaking so quietly that Emily couldn't hear, but her words circle my mind. Emily, this is my mother, Hannah. Emily adjusts MIA to free her right hand and shakes my mother's hand with a warm smile that doesn't quite reach her pale blue eyes. It's very nice to meet you, Hannah. My mother's smile is much more genuine as she takes in the sight of her granddaughter in the arms of a woman who has a connection to her that none of us have been able to reach. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you as well, Emily. We say our goodbyes, strap MIA into her seat and return to my car so I can drive us back to my house. She's quiet the entire drive and I can tell she's lost in thoughts and memories, but the pain that seemed to be suffocating her when I found her at her penthouse isn't as obvious. When we pull into my driveway, Emily gets out and carefully removes MIA's carrier, then follows me to the door that leads from the garage into my laundry room. I help her get MIA settled in her arms on the couch before heading in to start on dinner. Part of me had worried that dragging her out of her home and exposing her to a screaming baby might not be the best choice since she's mourning the birth of her deceased son, but it seems that this may have been exactly what she needed. I had planned to make spaghetti for dinner, but I feel my pathetic attempt at the dish would only be an insult to an Italian woman, so I settle on making soft tacos instead. The meat is almost finished and I'm cutting up the onion and tomato when I hear the beautiful, soothing sound of Emily singing to MIA. Once everything is ready and I have the table set and the food in place, I take a few moments to simply take in the sight of the small raven-haired woman who I know without a doubt had been the best mother any child could have asked for. We finished our dinner and while she complimented the meal, I'm fairly certain she was just being overly kind. I was caught by surprise when she asked if she could have the honor of putting MIA to bed. I've noticed she has an uncanny ability to surprise me far more often than she realizes. While Emily takes care of putting MIA to bed, I clean up the kitchen while my own flood of thoughts takes over. I had brought her here tonight to try to comfort her in her time of need, and yet, I find myself feeling more at peace than I have been since Max passed away. As soon as she walks back into the dining room, I quietly observe her until she finally slides back into the chair she sat at during dinner. Jake never wanted to have children. He was so angry when I told him I was pregnant, and he tried to pressure me into getting an abortion. He had told me that he didn't know how someone so smart could make such a stupid and irrational decision. Even after Lucian was born, Jake kept his distance. I never asked anything of him and he sure as hell didn't offer anything. It wasn't until the day I took Lucian to the hospital after he fainted that he made an effort to be present. That was a month before our son was dying, and do you know what he told me? He said that it was the universe's way of correcting my mistake. I feel both enraged and heartbroken at her confession. How could anyone be so heartless? He was lucky to have the love of such an amazing and devoted mother, Emily. Screw what Jake said. It had nothing to do with the universe. Sometimes really bad things happen to really good people. She gives me a soft smile as her tears begin to fall. You know that as much as I do. I'm glad MIA has someone to care for her and love her the way she deserves. If only she knew how much those words mean to me. I spend so much time wondering if I'm doing the right thing with MAA. Am I sacrificing enough? Am I present enough? Am I enough? After settling in the living room and turning on some sappy rom-com on Netflix, we both ended up falling asleep on the couch. I don't know how long we were sleeping before MEA's cries erupt from the baby monitor, but before I can get up, Emily is turning down the volume on the monitor and rushing upstairs to tend to MEA. After waiting for 30 minutes for her to come back down, I decide to go upstairs and make sure everything is okay. As I reach the doorway to MIA's nursery, I stop and lean against the doorframe to watch the beautiful interaction between them. MIA is laying in her crib while Emily hovers over her and hums a melody that seems to call to MIA like a siren song. After several minutes pass, I can see MIA's eyes drift closed and Emily slowly backs up toward the door, still unaware of my presence until her back presses against the front of me and a soft gasp escapes her as she turns to face me. "You scared the crap out of me," she whisper yells, but there's a soft smile on her face that shows me she's not at all upset. I gesture with my head to the stairs and lead the way back to the living room where she quickly turns the volume on the monitor back up before sitting down on the far end of the couch while I sit on the opposite end. I could have got up with her. "Emily, you should be resting." She chuckles softly and shakes her head as she drops it back against the couch. "Did you forget that I'm off all week? I think you should be more worried about your rest." I don't bother arguing, but I give her a playful glare. "What are your plans for the rest of your time off this week?" I can see her considering her answer carefully before she finally answers. "I'm going to go to my mom and dad's for dinner Friday, then Saturday I'm going to drive out and check the construction on my house." Her smile is mesmerizing as she mentions her house, and I find myself smiling at her. "Well, if you want company Saturday, let me know. I'm a little curious to see the product of those blueprints." She gives a gentle nod of her head. "Thank you, Xander, for today, I mean. I should get home and you should get some rest." I don't know why, but the thought of her leaving doesn't sit well with me, and a strange kind of panic kicks in that I can't begin to understand. "Why don't you just stay? It's already late and you can use one of the guest rooms. I can drop you off at home on my way to work." I silently hope she didn't hear the desperation in my voice, but if she did, she doesn't say anything. "Okay." She tilts her head to face me with a soft smile. I show her to the guest room next to Emia's nursery before heading to my room to try to get a few more hours of sleep. I had only expected to get a few hours of sleep before Emia's next feeding, but when I wake to the sun shining through the cracks in my blinds, I fly out of bed in a panic and rush to Emia's nursery to find it empty. I rush down the stairs, taking them two at a time, only to find MIA sitting in her bouncer on the kitchen island while Emily has her back to me as she cooks something that smells absolutely delicious. "You're going to spoil me if you keep this up." She glances over her shoulder at me and flashes a brilliant smile before returning to her task. "Coffee is ready and breakfast will be in a minute." I walk over to Emily and give her a kiss on her forehead, then reach over Emily to get a coffee cup out of the cupboard. "What are you making?" I look over her shoulder as she cuts up what I realize is some kind of frittata. I made a frittata with mushrooms, onion, peppers and tomato. I assumed that with all those items being in your fridge, that means you would eat them. I chuckle and step back to give her room while she plates the food. That's why they were in there. I'm generally not picky with my food and I have no known food allergies. She hands me a plate and we both take a seat at the kitchen island while Maya sits in her bouncer and stares at Emily as if she is the most amazing thing in the world. "What's on your agenda for today?" Before I can answer her, Emilia begins fussing and her face quickly flushes red, but Emily jumps into tending to her before I can even process a reaction. I have 2 meetings in the morning and one in the early afternoon. I'll be working from home for the rest of the day after that. I'm hoping that will make things easier on MIA. Her brow furrows for a moment, then her sweet smile appears. I can stay here with MIA while you handle your meetings, if you want. Her offer surprises me, but I have my reservations. You're on vacation, not babysitting duty, Emily. She gives me a playful glare while cradling MEA gently. It's not babysitting. It's a friend helping a friend. This way you can focus on your meetings and MEA can relax at home. It's not a big deal. I think about it for a few minutes, but the warmth in her eyes as she stares down at MEA sells me on it more than her words. Okay. You already know my work and cell numbers, so if there are any issues, you can call no matter what. Are you sure you want to do this? She gets up and waves me off dismissively while preparing a bottle for MIA with only one hand. Eat up, then go get ready for work. MIA and I will be just fine. I do as she tells me and finish my breakfast before taking a quick shower and getting dressed. After a rushed goodbye, I head to the office without MIA for the first time since she was born. My first 2 meetings of the day flow smoothly, and by 11 I've been notified that my last meeting of the day requested to reschedule. After typing up some notes for the morning's clients, I gather my things and head out early, anxious to get home and see MEA. I manage to miss the rush hour traffic and get home just after 12, but when I head inside, the house is silent. I search every room, calling out to Emily, but the house is empty. I feel a rush of panic, worried that something happened, but then irrational thoughts flood my head. What if being around MIA while grieving the loss of her son was too much for her? What if it caused her to snap? What if she took off with MIA? What if she hurts her? I hate to think such things about someone who seems so kind and loving, but I can't stop the worry from taking over and can't fight the possibilities my mind creates. I call Emily, my mom, and even Emily's mom, but no one even answers their phones, which only makes me worry more. After another 30 minutes pass, the front door opens and Emily walks in with MIA in her stroller. She seems surprised to see me, but I think the anger and panic that have taken over me surprises her more. Where the hell were you? I've been calling everywhere. I called you, my mom, and even your mom, but no one answered their phones and there was no note, no text, nothing telling me you plan to leave this house with my daughter. My shouting wakes Emily up, and as Emily steps around to get her out of the stroller, I step in front of her and free MIA from the harness, then pick her up. Please calm down, Xander. You're scaring her. I just took her for a walk because she was being very fussy. I figured the fresh air would do her some good. She's fine. She's home, and up until a few moments ago, she was happy. Her voice is calm and it only makes me angrier. You had no business taking her out without notifying me. Why weren't you answering your phone? She stares at me in disbelief as MIA begins crying loudly. Because I kept receiving calls from someone I would really rather not speak to, so I turned the volume off. I'm very sorry that I didn't answer your call or leave you a note. I thought you wouldn't be home for several more hours, so I didn't think it was necessary, but I'm sorry. I didn't think I know I should shut my mouth and just move on, but my anger is running the show at this point. No. You didn't think. You're not her mother. You have no right to take off and do as you please with my child. I was scared to death. I didn't know if you took off with her or maybe worse. For some reason, it makes me angrier that she keeps speaking in such a calm tone when I'm furious with her. I watch as she grabs her purse out of the storage beneath the stroller and slings the strap over her shoulder. I said I'm sorry and I understand my mistake. I'm going to go so you can calm down because this tension isn't healthy for me. She turns and walks out of my house without looking back. After spending the entire afternoon yesterday trying to calm my nerves while soothing MIA, I hardly got any sleep. I'm still conflicted about everything that happened. On one hand, she did take MIA out of the house without notifying me or even leaving a note. On the other hand, she did apologize and explained everything. Even this morning as I sit in my office while MIA sleeps in her crib, I can't decide if I reacted poorly. I don't want to be upset with Emily, especially since she is an employee, but the irrational thoughts I had before she returned with MIA are still sitting in the back of my mind. With it being Friday, my schedule is crammed with meetings and conference calls, so I luckily don't have a lot of time to overthink things. A few minutes before 4, I receive an email from Emily and I quickly open it, curious about what she has to say after the altercation yesterday. Mr. Dixon. I spoke with Mr. Anderson and he informed me of issues with the construction permits for Greenwich Plaza. I'm currently working to resolve the issues now, but we may need to alter the dates in the contract. We'll update you both when I have more information. Ms. Emily Rossi. I certainly don't miss how she uses her formal name, and it makes me feel uneasy. I decide to respond in an attempt to begin the process of smoothing things over. Emily. If you need any help with permit issue, let me know. I have several contacts who can help clear everything up rather quickly. Xander. P.S. You're supposed to be on vacation, but this sounds an awful lot like work. I smile to myself, feeling proud of the playful addition and hoping it will at least make her smile. But when I get her rapid response, I know I'm going to have to work a lot harder if I plan to pull us out of this. Mr. Dixon. I'm with the county inspector now, so I'm taking care of it. Also, I took vacation from CD, not from Anderson Arc Design. While your concern is admirable, it's unnecessary. I'll have a full report of the findings from the inspection submitted within the hour. Ms. Emily Rossi. I finished the last of my work before deciding to go see my mom and see if she can help me figure out what to do about the whole situation with Emily. We order in dinner and once MIA is settled and sound asleep in her carrier, we sit down and I jump right into the reason for my impromptu visit. Mom, I think I screwed up. She gives me a hesitant look, but sits back and steadies herself in her chair. Whatever it is, I'm sure it's nothing we can't fix. I sigh and rake my hands through my hair, wishing I had even an ounce of her confidence. I break everything down that happened and by the look on her face, she may very well be rethinking her stance on fixing things. She seemed so calm when she walked out, but when she emailed me at work today about a project that's having permit issues, she was formal and professional. Hell, she was cold, which is nothing like how she usually speaks to me. She shakes her head and it's no secret that she disapproves of how I handled things. I understand being worried and scared, but that's no reason to shout at her and say such awful things, Xander. I decide to share my worries, the thoughts that I had that had helped to fuel my anger to such an explosive level. I didn't know what to think, Mom. I hardly know her. What if her grief had made her do something unthinkable, like run off with MIA, or even hurt her? She gasps and looks at me in complete shock. Xander Walter Dixon. That girl has done nothing but help you and care for MIA. How could you ever think something so horrible about her? I know she is right, but it doesn't rid me of the irrational worry. Grief makes people do unthinkable things, Mom. She sits back in her chair with her glare locked onto me. Yes, it does. It can make you do things like care for someone else's child while trying to learn to deal with the loss of your own child. It can make you answer a call from a desperate father that has you driving at all hours of the night to help him and his sick child. It can make you decide that taking an upset child on a walk to calm them is acceptable, even if you did happen to forget to leave a note. Tell me, Xander, was MIA harmed? I shake my head, feeling worse than I did when I got here. I told you I screwed up. She nods her head and sits back with a look of contemplation. Call and talk to her, Xander. You need to fix this. Not only does she work with you, but MIA adores her. You need to fix this. Taking her advice, I step out onto the patio and dial her number only to have it go straight to voicemail without ringing. After thinking for a minute, I decide to call her mother's house, hoping she might be there for their family dinner. Hello. Hi, this is Emily's boss, Xander. I was wondering if Emily is there? Oh, Xander. No, I'm sorry, she's not here. She called an hour ago to let us know she wouldn't be making it tonight. She's dealing with some issues with the construction on one of Mr. Anderson's properties. Okay, thank you. Have a good evening. You too. I end the call and I know that if I want any chance of fixing this tonight, I need to go to the Greenwich Plaza. My mother agrees to watch MIA while I suck up my damn pride and try to clean up the mess I've made. It takes almost an hour to get to the plaza, but I spot Emily's car just beyond the gate along with the same white SUV from our first visit here and another car that I don't recognize. Since I don't have the access code to the main gate and Emily isn't answering my calls, I park my car on the curb and get out, using the small side gate to enter the property. I make my way to the front entrance of the main building and see Zachary standing at the front desk with his blueprint rolled out on the surface while he looks over it as he taps his pencil on the paper, seemingly frustrated with something. Hello, Zachary. He lifts his head with a furrowed brow, but a smile quickly appears when he recognizes me. Hey there, Mr. Dixon. I didn't know you'd be coming in this evening. I walk over to see what he is looking at, more in an attempt to not look as pathetically desperate as I actually am. I heard there were issues with the permits. He nods and runs a hand through his hair while letting out a heavy breath. This place is so far from being up to code it isn't funny. I'm had to call in a favor from the devil himself to get someone in to help fix this shit before the cruise is scheduled to show up on Monday. I arch a brow at him and shove my hand in my pockets. Who exactly is the devil? I try to keep an amused tone, but his expression becomes grave. Jacoby Ferris. She tried calling everyone she could, but when no one could help, she decided to do the unthinkable. I mean, sure, he said he would help, but I don't even want to think about how much this is going to fuck her up. My blood runs cold at the mention of his name, and I can no longer keep my emotions in check. Where is she? He leans back against the counter and points to the ceiling. They're walking the inspector through the 5th floor. The plumbing was one of the issues that got our permit denied. I mumble a quick thanks before rushing up the stairs to the 5th floor, unwilling to bother seeing if the elevator even worked. As soon as I step into the corridor, I can hear their voices just down the hall, one familiar voice and two I don't recognize. I walk closer, but stop just outside the doorway to the room they're standing in, trying to listen to their conversation. Ms. Rossi, you could have all of these issues cleared up before Monday morning, but you need to understand that it's going to be extremely costly. I would recommend delaying the construction for a week to save money and ensure everything is done correctly. Mr. Ferris already said he will gladly push the paperwork through to have the permits cleared as soon as everything is up to code. I hear her sigh and the sound of soft footsteps growing further away, then closer, then further again. She is pacing. Okay. I'll let Mr. Anderson know. You're sure that all of the necessary repairs and changes are on that report? I don't want any surprises this time. Her stern voice sounds so unusual for her, but her no bullshit tone is adorable. Yes, Ms. Rossi. She is quiet for a moment, probably beating herself up for not being able to get this done in the time frame she gave Mr. Anderson. Okay. Thank you, Brent. I really appreciate you showing up last minute. The man chuckles and responds in an amused tone. Well, I couldn't exactly refuse Jacoby, now could I? I owe him far too much already. Take care, Em. I slip into the open door of the room next to theirs and wait until the man enters the elevator that clearly is working, then return to my spot near the door. Thank you, Jake. I know you have better things to do than come fix my shit, but I appreciate this. Her voice lacks its usual confidence, and it makes my heart ache for her. It's fine, Emily. I'm glad you called. It's really good to see you again. You look amazing. I don't know why his words make me angry, but I feel the sting of my nails digging into the palm of my hands from how tightly my fists are clenched. Yeah, it's been a while, Jake. Look, I need to get going, but I really am glad you were willing to help get this straightened out. I'm almost certain I hear a hint of panic in her voice, and it has me on edge as I wait for the sound of footsteps, but the room is silent for a moment before he speaks again. I miss you, Emily. I think about you all the time. I really think we should give us another chance. I want to charge in, but her humorless laughter makes my body freeze. You miss me? I'm sorry, Jake, but the only thing about you that I miss is our son. The son you said was a mistake. The son you told me was taken from me as a form of punishment from the universe itself. I appreciate your willingness to help with my permit issue, but let me make this very clear: there is no us. You and I stopped being US the minute Lucian was conceived. I hear her soft footsteps, but they suddenly stop and he quickly starts speaking again. I know I screwed up, Emily. I've been trying to do better, to be better. There's a short pause that feels like it drags on forever before she speaks again. Maybe this would mean more to me if you had tried being better for our son. You weren't even there when he died. I had to go through it all on my own. I held his hand in mine as he drew his last breath. Where were you? I went through it all alone while you didn't have a care in the world. But here you are now thinking that one favor after all my suffering will make me see you in a different light? Let go of me. You're hurting me. I step into the doorway at the fearful tone when she told him to let go, and I lose it when I see him tightly holding her wrists. I don't even think when I rush to her and free her hands from his before stepping between them. I think you should leave. He stares at me for a moment before smirking and shaking his head. Yeah, sure thing. I'll see you soon, Emily. He walks away and I wait to move until I hear the elevator doors open and close. Are you okay? Her gaze is set on her wrists as she alternates rubbing them. I'm fine. What are you doing here, Mr. Dixon? I wince at the icy edge to her tone, but I know I deserve it. I need to apologize to you. I was completely out of line with how I spoke to you. I was scared and then I was angry with myself because I was worried about something happening. I was angry because if something happens to her, I will have failed not only MIA, but Jenner and Max too. The things I said were uncalled for, and you certainly didn't deserve it. You've done nothing but support and care for MIA, and have done so much to help me in the short time we've known each other. I'm sorry, Emily. I'm so fucking sorry. She looks up at me for a moment, but I can't tell if the sadness in her eyes is from what I've put her through or if it's because of the encounter with Jacoby. I'm sorry too. I open my mouth to speak, to tell her she has nothing to be sorry for, but the sound of her phone ringing silences us both as she grabs it and quickly answers the call. Hey, Neil. Yeah, I tried everything I could, but it looks like we'll be running at least 1 week behind schedule. I'm not giving up yet, but yes, that's a distinct possibility. Well, I did call in a favor, but I don't know Jacoby. I know, but I know, okay, I'll figure something out. No, he didn't know. Yeah, I know. Thanks, Neil. I'll call you in the morning. Thanks, you too. She slides her phone back into her pocket and looks more stressed now than she did before she answered the call. Everything okay? Her eyes meet mine for the first time since I arrived here and she shakes her head. Neil won't let Jacoby's men help. He said if that's our only option for a quick fix, then hell put the project on a 3-month delay. I smile and place a hand on her shoulder to guide her to the elevator. I told you I have connections. Let us go pick Emmy up and head to my place so I can make a few calls. You have the list the inspector gave you? She pulls a file out of her messenger bag and hands it to me. That's everything that needs to be done before they issue the permits. I give her a reassuring smile as we step into the elevator. Good. Let us see if we can't get this done quickly. We hurry to pick Emmy up with Emily following behind me in her car, and I certainly don't miss the wide smile on my mother's face as we leave. By the time we make it back to my house, Emmy is a fussy mess and it's well past her bedtime. Even though we've both apologized, I notice that Emily makes no move to get Emmy out of the car, and once we're inside, she doesn't try holding her. I quickly prepare a bottle for Emmy and get her out of her carrier so I can try to feed her, but she's at the point of being too cranky to even eat. Emily, would you be willing to try calming her down? I can see her hesitation, but after staring at Emmy's crying face for a moment, she nods and holds her arms out to me. As I figured, less than 2 minutes in her arms and Emmy is calm and eating peacefully. I pull out my cell and decide to start at the top of my list of people who can fix this permit mess, knowing I may not have much luck due to it being so late. It takes only 2 phone calls before I get us the help we need, and I'm assured our permits will be cleared first thing Monday morning so the contractors can start working by 9. Emily lets Neil know, and even through the phone I can tell he is happy to hear the news. Once she ends the call, she carefully lays Emmy in her bassinet and starts grabbing her things, obviously preparing to leave. You taking off? She gives me a half smile and nods. Yeah. I'm meeting with the contractor on my property early tomorrow morning. Thanks for helping get things sorted out. I'll call Jake in the morning and let him know we won't be needing his help. The way she cringes when she says his name doesn't go unnoticed by me. Did you need company tomorrow? With how off she seems when it comes to Emmy, I doubt she'll agree, but I can't stop myself from asking. Oh, I have to be there at 7 in the morning, so it's okay, I can go myself. I swear I see a flicker of doubt in her eyes and I really hope I'm right. I'd really like to go with you, and my mother already said she'd watch Emmy for me, so it's no trouble. I can see how carefully she is considering my offer before she finally gives me a nod. Okay. I can meet you at your mom's place at 6:30. I give her a bright smile and follow her to the door. Emily, I meant it when I said I was sorry. I panicked and I handled the whole thing terribly. When her eyes meet mine, her expression is unreadable, but she returns my smile. It's okay, Xander. I can't fault you for worrying about Emmy. Try to get some rest and I'll see you bright and early. I watch as she leaves, not closing the door until her car vanishes from my driveway. Emmy hit another milestone this morning by sleeping through the night for the first time since I brought her home. She woke for the first time at 5 this morning, which gave us both a solid 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep. I drive us over to my mother's just after 5 so I can help get Emmy settled in before Emily arrives and my mother can't contain her need to be informed. So, tell me how it went. I'm guessing by the fact that she was with you when you picked Emmy up that it must have gone well. She is literally on the edge of her seat as she waits for me to lay everything out for her. I apologized, she apologized, and we're not back to where we were before I screwed up, but we're somewhere in between, I guess. Her brow furrows and she leans back in her chair as she thinks about what I told her. What do you mean? What S in between? I sigh and run my fingers through my hair. She used to jump at the chance to help with MIA, but last night she hesitated. She acted like she had no right to offer help and seemed like she didn't feel welcome. I could be wrong, but that's just how it seemed to me. She covers her face with her hand and sighs loudly. Well, she probably doesn't feel like she has a right since you made it quite clear that she doesn't. It might take a while for her to get comfortable again since she probably doesn't know what role she plays now. You blurred the lines the minute you called her late at night to help with MIA, but in the next breath you scolded her for taking care of her. Yes, she should have left you a note or a text, but it was a small mistake. I do wonder whose phone call had bothered her enough to shut off her phone. I doubt she would have done such a thing while caring for MIA if it wasn't for a good reason. It's a thought that had crossed my mind as well, but was fleeting due to my anger at the time. I don't know, Mom. It's just I said I'm sorry, so what can I do to make the awkwardness go away? She reaches over and pats my leg while offering me a reassuring smile. Just give it time. Your words might have stuck with her, and if so, it may take time for her to move past them. As I nod my head in agreement, the doorbell rings and I quickly rush to answer it. Emily is wearing a pair of black skinny jeans, black ankle boots with a slight heel and a silky pale blue short sleeve shirt that makes her eyes pop. Her hair is styled in loose curls and she isn't wearing any makeup, which only makes her look even more beautiful to me. Good morning. Let me grab my phone and we can head out. She nods and I motion for her to come in since I know my mother would go ballistic if I didn't bring her in to say hi. Oh, Emily. You look stunning, dear. I catch the slight blush on her cheeks as she smiles shyly. Thank you. You look lovely like always. My mother smiles at her as if that's the most amazing compliment she has ever received. All right, Mom, we're going to head out. I have my cell on me if you need anything. She gets up and gives us both a hug before we take off, using Emily's car since she knows the way. The drive is quiet for the first 10 minutes until her phone rings through the Bluetooth connection in the car, and she makes the mistake of answering the call without waiting to see who's on the line. He. Are you serious, Em? After everything I did, all the strings I pulled to help you? You're turning me down now? Jake, we were able to work things out on our end so your help isn't needed. I appreciate. No, I don't think you do appreciate my help. You're still an ungrateful little bitch, you know that? You never did appreciate all the things I did for you. I gave you everything and you still weren't happy. I reach across her and press the button on the steering wheel to disconnect the call. The phone rings again moments later, but I hold up my hand to her to let her know not to answer it. After 2 more attempts, he stops calling. Has he always been like that? I try to keep the bite out of my tone, but I probably failed. No. He became that way after finding out I was pregnant. I clench my fists in my lap and try to take a few calming breaths. I don't care how bad things get. Don't ask that piece of shit for help. You deserve better than being treated that way. She nods her head and the car slows as she pulls into a gravel driveway. I look ahead at the large single-story house that's far more impressive than the blueprint. We get out of the car and walk to the front door that has a beautiful stained glass mural done in blues, greys, and an off-white moon sits at the top right corner. When she opens the door, we find a few men milling around as they work on their tasks, and while the wood flooring hasn't been laid down and they're still working on the tile floor in the kitchen as well as the backsplash, I can easily envision the end result and it's breathtaking. Emily? What do you think? An older man with thinning grey hair and a round belly walks up to us while gesturing to the large living room. It's perfect. I still can't believe this is real. The guy takes a look around and it's easy to see that he's rather proud of his work as well. You have 2 weeks until you can move in. We'll be finished up here in the next 4 days, then the tech people will come install the alarm and the landscaping company will be showing up Wednesday. Her eyes glisten as she takes it all in and slowly heads down the hall toward the bedrooms. I follow quietly behind her, but she skips every door until reaching the door that leads to the master bedroom. The room is insanely large, has a large walk-in closet, an ensuite that's absolutely luxurious, and there are 2 glass doors that I assume open to the backyard. This is amazing, Emily. She turns to face me and the tears streaming down her cheeks take me by surprise. Hey, what's wrong? One of her hands flies up to cover her mouth, likely to hide her sobs though she fails, and the other is pressed against her chest. It takes her a few moments to calm down enough to speak clearly. This is the house I designed for me and Lucian. This is where I wanted to raise him. She chokes back another sob and without a single thought, I walk up to her and pull her into my arms. It's okay. I know you might think it's hard, but this is one way to honor him, Emily. Live in your dream home, be happy and keep going even when it seems too hard. She nods into my chest, then takes a step back, wiping her eyes and looking rather embarrassed. I know, but it hurts. I nod my head, knowing how hard it is to move on after losing someone you care about. We can head back. It looks like they have everything handled here. I nod and follow her out of the house and back to her car, saying goodbye to all the workers as we pass them. West we begin our drive quietly, but once again her phone interrupts the silence with a call from her mother. Hey, Mom. Emily, you're coming to dinner tonight, right? Family night was last night, Mar. Everyone wanted to have our dinner tonight since you couldn't make it yesterday. We want to hear all about the house. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can be there. I have to drop Xander off, then I'll head over to help out. You're with Xander? You should tell him to come tonight. Mar. I'm sure he has better things to do than be cooped up with our group of crazies. Actually, I don't. Oh, perfect. We'll make Emily's favorite, pasta carbonara. Sounds great, Mrs. Rossi. Please, call me Itzer. I'll see you both for dinner. When the call ends, Emily lets out a heavy sigh. You okay? She nods, but seems a little off. I should have asked if you're okay with us going first. I wasn't thinking. I'm sorry, Emily. She looks at me as if she is confused by my comment. Why wouldn't I be? Now it's my turn to be confused. You just don't seem too thrilled about her inviting me. Her eyes go wide and she shakes her head. God no, that has nothing to do with it. My mom knows that I called Jake for help, and if she lets it slip during dinner, shit's going to hit the fan. I was hoping to give her the week to forget about it, but clearly that isn't happening. I'd be lying if I said I'm not relieved that her reaction isn't because of me. Well, he's not helping, so hopefully that will be enough to placate them. She chuckles nervously and shakes her head. It's not. The fact that I called him after everything he put me through, that alone is enough to send them off the deep end. Hopefully I can get them over it before you arrive, since I'm heading over early. God, this is such a mess. I wish I could say something to comfort her, but having met her family only once, I can't give her reassurance about how they'll react. We're quiet the rest of the way to my mother's house, and unlike the other time she has come here with me, she makes no move to get out of the car. I guess I'll see you tonight. 6, right? She nods and forces a smile. Yeah, 6. See you tonight. She doesn't pull out until I've walked through the front door, and I only wish there was more I could do to ease her discomfort. Emily. I arrived at my parents' house 4 hours ago, and we've been having a visit with Nonna and Nonno, enjoying our time together since they leave to go back to Italy in 2 days. My mom is trying and failing miserably to hide how much it upsets her that they're leaving, but we all know their home is, and will forever be, in Italy. I've been avoiding mentioning the fact that I reached out to Jake for help with the permit issue at work, but fate seems to enjoy making me suffer. I'm in the kitchen with my nonna when the doorbell rings, and it takes Antonio less than a minute to answer it, and it takes me less than 30 seconds to know exactly who it is on the other side. What the fuck are you doing here? Get the hell off our property. I rush to the front door and my blood turns to rivers of ice at the sight of Jake standing there with his signature sinister smile. Can we talk? I fold my arms over my chest, and it's not lost on me that I have 16 sets of eyes on me, 17 if you count Jake S. I have nothing to say to you. I want him to leave, to go back to whatever level of hell he has been hiding in, but it's not like he ever cared what I wanted before, so why start now? You called and asked me for help, in case you forgot. So, can you please come outside so we can talk like adults? A collective gasp comes from the living room, and I know this is only going to get worse from here. I did what was necessary for my work, and trust me when I say that I exhausted all other options before reaching out to you. You were a last resort and one I wasn't happy to turn to. I see the way his eyes darken just like they did the day I told him I was pregnant. You and I have both been through a lot together. I think we owe it to ourselves to sit down and have a civilized conversation for once. I glance at Antonio, who's shaking his head and giving me a hard glare. I'll tell you what. Tell me what you were doing September 12th and I'll consider it. I know his answer will likely cause me to feel angrier, but I want to hear it. I need to. What? I was probably at work. What does that have to do with anything? One more glance at Antonio tells me he knows why I asked, and he gives me a nod of approval, his silent support to do what I feel is necessary. You want to know what I was doing? I was mourning our son. I was dying inside as I remembered every detail of the day he was born. Maybe that day means nothing to you since you couldn't even be bothered to show up, but that was also the day that I realized you weren't worth my time. You're a selfish, egotistical, spoiled arsehole, and there's nothing civil about you. I owe you nothing, Jake. You need to leave. He stands up straighter, and I see the same glint in his eye that I saw at the construction site right before he grabbed my wrists. This isn't over, We will work this out. I go to respond only to be cut off by my dad's cold, angry voice. Jacoby, you need to leave before I decide to see how much buckshot a rich boy can take before bleeding out. I look at my dad with wide eyes, feeling so proud and thankful for my amazing family. Jake gives me one last angry glare before turning and leaving. I don't care why you called him, just tell me you aren't letting him back into your life, Antonio asks with a pleading tone. No, not at all. I was in one hell of a bind, but Xander pulled through and found a way to fix things without getting Jake involved. After breaking down and retelling the entire story of how I ended up reaching out to Jake, I retreat to my safe haven on the porch swing on the back patio. I didn't realize how late it is until I hear the sounds of all the women in my family talking in the kitchen while preparing dinner. My nonna comes out and takes a seat beside me, patting my knee gently once she has settled. Why are you so troubled? Without having to say it, I know she isn't talking about Jake. Xander and I are in a weird place right now, Nonna, and I don't like it. She nods her head absent-mindedly. Tell me what happened. And I do. I tell her how I have been getting far too comfortable around him, about the night he called me because MAA was sick, how he showed up on Lucian's birthday and how things fell apart the day I took MAA for the walk. I even tell her about silencing my phone that day because Jake had been calling and texting me relentlessly. We apologize to each other, but things still feel so off. I tried keeping things professional, but I just don't know how to backtrack from where we were to where we started. I can't handle getting close to MAA then having her taken out of my life again. My time away made me realize that it'll happen sooner or later. Either he'll find a girlfriend, or maybe I'll make a mistake again, but it'll happen and it was devastating enough this time. What happens if it doesn't happen until further down the road and it ends up hurting MIA? She smiles brightly and squeezes my knee. You love that bambino. I nod, not even willing to try denying it. I do. At first, I thought I enjoyed being around her so much because it filled the void in me, but it isn't that at all. I love watching all her little milestones, watching her smile, sleep, eat everything about her. She doesn't replace Lucian in my life, but she makes the pain lessen. I focus my gaze on the setting sun, hoping the beauty of it can help dull the sharp pain in my chest. What about Xander? I don't know how to answer her question since it's one I've never allowed myself to consider. What about him, Nonna? My tone betrays my exhausted state, but she doesn't let up. How do you feel about him? It sounds like he's been a good man in your life. I narrow my eyes, but eventually nod. He has. He was there for me on Lucian's birthday, a time where I didn't want anyone, but it's like he somehow knew I needed someone. He defended me against Jake. If you had seen the look in his eyes when I came back from that walk with MEA, it was like he thought I was crazy, like he thought I could have hurt her. I would sooner die than hurt any child, most of all her. She pulls me into a side hug that's quickly interrupted by the sound of someone clearing their throat. I feel mortified when I see Xander leaning up against the frame of the sliding glass door, and I find myself questioning just how much of our conversation he heard. I should see if your mama needs help. I watch as the treacherous old woman makes her way inside, and Xander slowly walks over to take her place. Your brother said Jake showed up here. I nod and decide to answer even though it wasn't exactly a question. Yeah, he did. My arms wrap around my waist as I lean forward on the swing. Are you okay? He didn't hurt you, did he? I quickly shake my head, my dad's threat replaying in my mind. No, he wouldn't dare with so many people watching. Pupper did threaten to use him as a guinea pig to see how much buckshot a rich boy can take before bleeding out. We both chuckle, my head shaking in disbelief at my dad's antics. So, don't piss off your dad, got it? Look, I really want us to get back to how things were, Emily. I hate that I overreacted the way I did, and I hate it even more that it's made things awkward and it made you pull away from MAA. You were so comfortable around her and always seemed so happy, but then I was a dick and now everything's messed up. The strain in his voice tugs at my heart, but I don't want him to blame himself because I know that me pulling away isn't only because of that single interaction. It's not that, Xander. Yeah, I was upset at first, but it made me realize that I had let myself get too close. The fact that I felt it was okay to take her out like that showed me that I was getting in too deep. I can't let myself get any more attached to her because I don't think I want to be able to handle it if I have to walk out of her life. I squeeze my eyes closed, hoping to keep the tears that are building in my eyes from falling. Why would you have to? I have a strong feeling he heard my conversation with Nonna, but for some reason, saying these things to him seems so much harder. Because someday you're going to find someone, and I doubt they'll be comfortable with you having an employee who's such an active participant in yours and MIA's life. I need you to know though, I never viewed MIA as a replacement for Lucian. If anything, I was terrified that being around her so much might trigger memories of him, but it didn't, not in the way I expected anyway. I feel his hand fall gently on my shoulder, but I can't bring myself to look at him. I would never be with someone who has a problem with you being around MIA, and right now the idea of entering the world of dating is terrifying. That little girl adores you and her happiness will always come first. Besides, I like having you around too. I don't know if it's the fact that we both have suffered through such unimaginable loss, or if it's something more, but I feel like myself around you and I like having you around. And I've really missed it, Emily. I lean back in the swing and rub my hands nervously on my thighs. I've missed it too. I flash him a weak smile while forcing down the current of emotions. All I ask is that you leave a note next time. He chuckles and pats my thigh, letting me know he's meaning it playfully. I should have. I know that. When I was getting MIA ready, Jake started calling and texting. I got so frustrated that I silenced my phone and left in a hurry so I could get out and clear my head. I've never been so careless and I really am sorry. I hadn't realized that I was wringing my hands together until he forces them apart, taking firm hold of my left hand. Hey, it's over. We both apologized and we're good. Okay. I close my eyes and try to fight off the memories of the way he looked at me when I walked through his door with MEA. Are we though? If we're getting everything out in the open, then be honest with me. When you came home and we weren't there, did you really think I might have done something to her? I saw the look in your eyes after we walked through the door, and he cuts me off and I can hear the regret clearly in his tone. Yes. To be honest with you, it did cross my mind because I was panicking. I know that grief can make you think, feel, and do awful things. I wasn't in the best frame of mind, and because of that, the logic of what I know and what I believe couldn't push past my fear of the worst possible scenario. Do I actually believe you would hurt MIA or even me? Absolutely not. Did I, in my state of panic, entertain the possibility that your grief could have caused you to take MIA or hurt her? Regrettably, yes. My worry over something happening to her and me not knowing where she was or having a way to get a hold of you pushed me into a dark place, and I took all of it out on you, Emily, and I'm so unbelievably sorry. I lean over and bump my shoulder into his and offer him a reassuring smile. Being a parent can make you worry and think, feel, and do irrational and insane things. I get it. If you think your reaction was over the top, you should have seen the few freak-out episodes I had with Lucian's doctors. I feel myself smiling at the realization that talking about him doesn't hurt as much as it used to. Dinner's ready. Mom shouts from inside the kitchen. Come on, I bet you would love to see you, and by now Cecilia probably could use a break. We both head inside, and I don't even reach the table before Cecilia is handing me MIA and a bottle. She refused to eat for me, but she seemed content with pulling my hair. We both chuckle and take our seats with Nonner to my left and Xander to my right. I prop the bottle between my chin and collarbone while Nonner fills my plate with pasta and a slice of garlic bread. Illinois piccolo ti amo, Emily. The little one loves you, Emily. Nonner says in a hushed tone while smiling warmly at us. Anch'io la amo tantissimo, Nonner. I love her too, Grandma, so very much. She leans over and kisses my cheek before gesturing for me to eat. I catch Xander watching me with a soft smile before he turns his attention to his food too. Once everyone finishes eating, the women begin clearing the table while the men retreat to the living room, all except Xander, who has remained seated beside me at the dining table while I hold a now sleeping MEA. It's already after 8, and I can clearly see how tired Xander is even though he is trying to hide it.